Hey everyone, so excited for this second hour as we speak to our friends over at OpusClip, Opus Pro being the parent company. Welcome Shubh Jagani, Head of Enterprise and Product at OpusClip. Hey Shubh, how are you?
Hey, Liberty. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
So we're excited because not only do many of us within our community use OpusClip, but we have even used it on office hours and done on our channel, creating shorts with OpusClip. But then also you're here today to speak to us about one of the new products that you have all released. And before we dive into it, because there's some people who are watching right now or potentially watching the replay who are not familiar with y'all. So if you could give us the elevator pitch on this product and how you are using AI.
Yeah, OpusClip is an AI first or AI based video editor. And really, our objective is to take some of the most boring parts of your workflow out of it and give you the ability to create authentic content from your hard work. And I think we're a little biased towards short form and social media. And so really what we started with was the ability to drop in any long form video. It can be 3 minutes to like 10 hours. OpusClip will understand everything that's happening within that video and then find you the best moment so that you can use it for social, you can use it for teasers or trailers, and just make it really easy for you to not have to reproduce and reuse and start over that creative process again.
Yeah, and it's been wonderful to watch your journey. Just I remember, I think it was last year, South by Southwest. You all have received some awards and accolades. So, what do you think? And just before you get into Clip Anything, which is
Mhm.
one of the new releases, what has been the aha for many people when they find out about this product?
Yeah. So I think like when you think about the growth of a product, the best products are ones that can unlock a strategy for people, right? And so for a lot of creators, they spend a lot of their time creating really high quality long form content. Um, but one thing that people have learned over the last couple of years is the way that they can grow that presence is through short form content and short form creation. But that takes just the same amount or even sometimes more work creating long form to short form content. And so what has been really powerful and really unlocked the growth for a lot of folks is being able to just focus on your long form and then have OpusClip do all of the boring work like finding the right moment, captioning it, framing people to go from, 16 by 9 to 9 by 16 and making sure the speakers are in frame and doing a lot of that boring work out of it and just giving people the ability to find, the most creative moments, the best parts and put that on their channels, on their social media and grow the awareness of their long form content. So allowing creatives to focus on whatever their long form is and their like core product is or core value that they're creating is.
Nice. All right. So let's dive into this. You've got a demo for us of Clip Anything. So you're watching this live here on office hours.
Awesome. Let me share my screen. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, no worries. And producers, this is a wonderful time for you for those of you who are using OpusClip we've got the man here to just walk us through. So any of your questions, go ahead and submit them. And once we get to questions, you can answer them. All right, Shub, what do we have here?
So you're looking at my screen. OpusClip is really simple. So you can take, you can start from any source, but you can take a YouTube link. So this is a 20-minute video of Sydney Sweeney eating hot wings and answering questions about her movie, Madam Web. And I can drop in a link here and, select what type of content it is. And essentially what OpusClip will do is understand everything. So I can also select a preset template of what I want the output to look like. And what it will do is take me back, get me a bunch of results from that. So I'll skip the actual processing step, but essentially from this 20-minute interview, OpusClip generated 16 different clips. that are
And that
all
link could be from anywhere. So like YouTube, Google Drive, wherever. Okay.
exactly, yeah. That link can be from anywhere. So you can drop in Zoom, like we could drop in this conversation. We can drop in Twitch. You can connect your Google Drive, Dropbox, wherever your content exists. You can also just upload it from your device as well, really easily.
Awesome.
And so there's a couple of things happening here, which is first, you're going to see a rating of like how good is this clip. And what we've built this model on, and this is our virality score model, is really focused on, does it have a strong hook? Does it understand what's happening? Is there a flow? So does it follow a narrative structure, beginning, middle, and end? Is the story compelling? Value is really important because we're looking at, is it engaging all the way through? So especially for social media, when videos are watched through to the end, they are more promoted, they get pushed up in the algorithms, and they do better as well. And then is this talking about something that is trending as well? So is the topic of the conversation a trending topic? And I'll play the video. So originally we were in this landscape sort of set up. This is what the video and some of the shots look like as well. And then here's how OpusClip framed it and also added captions to it. And I'll just play it for you.
So there's been so much building anticipation for your performance in Madam Web, especially so since the first images of you in the Spider-Woman suit leaked to the internet in November. Do you remember where you were and what was going through your head when you tried on the costume and eye mask for the first time?
Yes, I was in Boston already. We filmed them.
So I'll pause here, but there's a couple of things happening, right? So the first is we've added these animated captions. I'm sure you've seen it on your different feeds. This is something that's become really popular and has driven a lot more engagement for folks. And then we've taken these wide shots and even framed the speaker so that they're all in the same frame. We have a really simple but powerful editor where you can see both the transcript, and so you can edit using the transcript as well as the timeline. So if you're like a Premiere person, you definitely know what this looks like, but you can make changes here. So let's say Spider-Woman was actually supposed to be hyphenated. I can just click the word and edit the words directly, and make any changes here, correct all occurrences of that, and then make that changes to the captions as well. If I wanted to remove a sentence, I can just select that sentence and remove that caption and the word, and the video gets edited down. Or I can even add a section. So I have the ability to go into the original, the entire 20 minutes, and add it from the timeline or the transcript. So I can just say, cool, let's go till oh dear, and we're going to add this part in. And so that gets added to the end of that video as well. Then there's lots of effects. You can change the layouts. So the AI automatically finds the best layout. So there were scenes where they were showing the video. They were showing sort of images of the actual movie. And so you'll see that this is the actual movie, but we've framed the actor in the middle of the shot and put her in the middle. And so that way you can really easily edit these things as well. And then of course we have some very simple transitions. You can add a voiceover if you'd like at the start of the video. That's become really popular as well. And then you can import and add like an intro card or an outro card promoting your content as well. We have a couple of AI enhancement features. So the ability to like enhance the audio, so remove some of the background noise, filter words like pauses and things like that. You can remove those really easily as well. And then of course you have your layout settings, which is settings for the entire video. So I can go back to the 16:9, or I can go into a 1:1 shot. Now you're seeing a low resolution preview, but when this gets re-rendered, you'll get the high res HD output as well. And then, yeah, all of it's super customizable. So I can build templates with my fonts, my colors, my styles, and all of that. So that is what OpusClip does in general. But one of the biggest differences between this product and any other product that you might have seen that's in this realm is our new Clip Anything model. So Clip Anything, what it does is that it understands, it's a multimodal model that that we've built, which actually understands every aspect of the video. So we're not just looking at transcripts, but we're doing a frame by frame understanding of every single thing that's happening in the video. So if you were to drop in like a nature documentary, you can actually prompt, and let me show you what that looks like, but you can actually prompt for the specific moment that you're looking for. So from this, I can say, find me the moment where Sydney eats a really spicy chicken wing and her eyes start watering. And so I can prompt for this specific moment, and then the AI will find the exact moment when that happens and extract that for you. You can also use compilations, like find me the funniest moments. And that's because we're not just looking at like what's being said, but we're doing sort of a frame by frame understanding. We're also looking at the audio layers to see, is there laughter? Is there applause? Is there any background music? Things like that. And that's been a really big unlock for folks that are not doing just spoken content. So you can think about sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no. Finish that.
I was just going to say, you can think about like when a travel vlogger or a food blogger is like talking about the food that they're eating. The most valuable shot there is actually them eating the food and reacting to it and being like, oh my God, this is amazing, or whatever. And that usually gets cut because it's just somebody like eating some crunchy cereal or something like that, and there's no real like spoken content there. But with Clip Anything, we actually understand that like this is the best point. This is like the money shot, and it needs to be in the video, and so we can cut around that as well.
So we want to come back to this because what I appreciate about what you have all done is that we as the producers have an idea about these moments, but then being able to pair that with the AI to prompt and find those moments. We're going to go to a couple of questions and then come back to your demo.
Okay.
Awesome. All right. Let's get into our first question.
First one is from Tony Mobley in Noonan, Georgia. Alex, OpusClip has been recommended for House of Worship. Is this something new? Had not heard about this use case before yesterday.
Yeah, Shubh. So Tony is just saying for House of Worship.
Yeah, is that a church or is that like
it's a church. It's a house of worship is any kind of church, whether it's Buddhist or Christian or whatever.
Yeah, great. It actually, one of our biggest segments, and this was a really big finding for us, are churches and religious content. So we work with a product called Sermon Tech and also Pray.com. They are big users of OpusClip because they can drop in entire sermons, 3 hours, whatever, and find some of the highlights from there. And they use it to promote, specific services that are coming up or highlight things from the previous year. But it works really well with spoken content. We support 23 languages as well. So if there is any content that's spoken in like any of those languages, we can support that. And then we'll also do captioning for that. We're working on being able to translate and being able to go from, English to different languages. Currently, we have the ability to go from any of those 23 languages back to English as well.
Next question.
From Florence Donald in Silver Spring, Maryland. Alex, did you see you were on the Opus website in a twit clip?
I didn't know that. I didn't know I was on evidently I'm somewhere on the Opus website. So anyway, I'm on a show on Twit. So anyway,
awesome.
There you go.
All right. So Shubh, if you want to continue on with Clip Anything.
Go ahead. I have one question about, so one of the things is I use Opus a lot, but I've mostly used it as just a link. I just put the link in and I get clips out. And usually what's happening for me is that we'll get 30, 40 clips out of a show, and I pick 3 or 4 that we're going to post or whatever, and for different products that I work on. But one of the things that I just haven't thought through enough, and I wanted to ask you about, can I put up multiple layers? So one of the things in the shows that we do is we can double end all the recordings. So I have 5 people talking. We hit record and we can record all of those as part of the show. But what we really want is singles when they're talking or having it cutting back and forth as they're interacting. Is that something that can be done inside of Opus?
It is not. That's a great question. And we actually hear it from the professionals all the time, which is like, I have multiple cameras or multiple layers here. Currently, what we support are single videos. So
and that's what I thought. I just want to make sure I wasn't missing anything. What we do normally is we record a clean layer, which is just cutting back and forth and not none of the graphics or the two ups or anything else. It's
Right.
just the people talking, and that gets us part of the way there.
So one of the things that we're launching is, so OpusClip already has the ability to generate AI B-roll, which I can share with you in just a second. So it can, you press one button, it finds moments from the video that like are a little boring and inserts an image or a video in that, and it can be generated. You can connect your Getty Images account and pull images or video from there. But we're also adding the ability to upload your own B-roll. And essentially that is what we're calling the feature, is like upload your own B-roll. But it could actually just be a different shot of the same video or a reaction of a person, and can be overlaid on a different track. And so
does it smartly then, if I give you just a bunch of B-roll and you have the show, it's just going to go grab B-roll and put it up there as it thinks it would fit what would be contextually accurate?
That's essentially what we're trying to do, is index every piece of B-roll and then insert it contextually, so that it would be one click and say like insert from my library, and then it would drop in the B-roll that would be relevant. Speaking of indexing, I actually wanted to share one of the newer features we're working on. And,
Go for it.
let me share my screen.
We like indexing a lot.
Yeah. So one of the things that we've seen a lot of people run into, especially on the professional side, is like, I just have so much content, and how do I find the right moments from that? So we are working with a few creators to really be able to take their entire archive of content and be able to find the exact moments that they're looking for here. So this example is Lewis Howes, School of Greatness. He's a podcaster. He's been podcasting and creating video podcasts since 2015, about, I think, 1,000 plus episodes. And we've been able to index every single episode, every piece of content he's made, and now can look for whatever topics we want. So if I can learn to spell, if I look for navigating relationships and set all of the durations there, this will find every moment from all 1,000 episodes where he's talked about navigating relationships, every single one. Then you see all the people that have been interviewed and talked about as well. So like, okay, Esther Perel, huge, talks about relationships all the time. And then what topics specifically were covered as well. And now I can hit play here and say, okay.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. That's interesting. It sounds like, so you were married twice before, correct? Mm-hmm. And then we were talking off camera about how you met.
And so this is pulling like a 3-minute clip. So I'm not going to play the whole thing, but you know that the original video is in 16:9. It was published on June 19th of this year. And if I click this, it'll take me to this exact moment in the original video as well. So check this out.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. That's interesting. It sounds like, so you were married twice.
And then from here, I can like download the clip itself, or I can go right into the editor and go, all right, let's get this ready for TikTok. And so I can either change the layout here, or I can just go to one of my templates and switch to like, here's my vertical format. And now everything's been framed and ready to go. You hit the save, and then you can add the captions back in if you'd like. So we go,
wow. Yeah. Wow. That's interesting.
And you're like, this framing sucks. So either we can zoom out, or we can split the layout here and just get both speakers in. Make this change.
It sounds like, so you were married twice before.
And so you can make this change really quickly. In a few seconds, you've like found the exact clip you might be looking for, and then been able to make any edits to that as well, right? And of course, you can double down here. So we started with a very broad topic. There are 71 results, and then we can go a little deeper. So we can go self-discovery. Sorry, I'm just picking these on the fly. So,
and where did those results come from? Because when you initially did it, I was like, wow, look, it bubbled up all those other topics, very SEO-ish, if you want to say. Did Opus generate those, or did, Lewis's team have to manually say, here are the topics that we want?
No, Lewis's team does not have to do anything. They literally just point us to like a content management system or a media asset management system, or even a YouTube page, right? Like, here's our YouTube channel. Here's a playlist with every full episode. OpusClip goes and processes all of them, like you saw earlier with like dropping in a link. But it processes that, and then what Clip Anything unlocks is the understanding of who each speaker is, what are the topics that are covered, The different sort of, we're still working on things like sentiment as well, but you'll be able to filter by mood or sentiment here as well to be able to say, okay, find me the most controversial moments, find me the ones that are really informative, find me clips that are really funny and lighthearted, and be able to filter by that and find the exact things that you're looking for. And it unlocks a couple of things. So for podcasters, for people who make their living on YouTube, it unlocks revenue, because then I can take this 2-minute clip or 10-minute clip, whatever. I can extend this out to something, put it on a different channel or put it on my own channel, insert new ads within it, and then generate more revenue through that, or generate revenue through AdSense, which has been sort of the thing that we're thinking about here. But this is really in its early stages, and so for me as a product person, I'm trying to understand and trying to find partners that can really help me build the feature set here, right? So like, why does this become really powerful for folks in a professional environment? How does this become really powerful for people that are trying to do advertising or have their own agency or whatever? So that's one of the things that we're still working on and developing. But I think, or my belief is that search and being able to find a moment from an archive of content becomes really, really valuable in that way.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, for any of us a lot of us, when we're shooting footage, we're shooting sometimes 10 to 1, 50 to 1, 100 to 1 for what we're needing. And we just want to be able to dump that in, have it all there, and then be able to search it, and in the past we've hired, assistants to go through there and type in all those things, but we feel, there definitely is a feeling of, this could be easier, and we have to think about those also. We're shooting oftentimes with multiple cameras, and so knowing where those cameras are in relationship to each other is also, in time, so that give me the 4 clips that are that are lined up in time, but have someone doing something specific.
Yeah, totally. The one thing that I noticed when we were speaking to these customers was when they first got into search, for the first couple of weeks, they knew exactly what they were looking for. They're like, this was a really great moment that happened 2 years ago. This was a great moment that happened last week. And they would search for things and find the clips and get really excited and then sort of be done with that. And in about 2 weeks, their tank is kind of empty. They've like run out of ideas of good content to put out. And so that's why we also added trends data. So what you're seeing here are the trending topics from the last 24 hours in the United States. And we're building the ability to customize these so you can pick which categories you're interested in. So it can be arts and entertainment, politics, sports, the NFL, the NBA, whatever things that you're interested in. And then it will suggest to you what's happening in the world. And then this can be a great jumping off point. So I actually don't know if there's anything that will be good for, maybe let's try the Today Show. Good for Lewis House, but let's see what the Today Show results kind of come up like. Okay, so he's talking to a bunch of TV hosts, actually, which is kind of cool. And Tony Robbins is kind of a good one, too.
This is 6 months before the crash. I told him in April, I brought him to Dubai, and I said, these stocks are going to go to 8, and some are going to go to $1. Wow. And by October, and I told them what to do, so they were able to get out. October, I go on the Today Show in October of 2008, and they go, Tony, there's been $3 trillion meltdown. Pump the country up. You got 4 minutes.
Ready, go.
That's not what I do.
So even though, this is where creators can also be relevant, where they're like, hey, we had this person that is trending today on our show 4 years ago. We had this person talk about this topic. I just can't remember the exact moment when. And I guess Tony Robbins talked about the Today Show for a few minutes in one of these episodes in 2022. So it's really interesting that you can also pull these moments out as well.
And then the beauty of it is, as you shared before, is you can actually go into that clip and edit and pull out more context if needed, or even add to just editing that moment, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So I can, go in and say, okay, let's start from the start of this video and drag that whole thing in, or let's extend this out a little bit. You can do that. And if you're not sure the exact parts, you can use, of course, the text-based transcript, right? So this is some of the magic of Clip Anything, where it's like describing what's happening as well. So it's two men seated in a chair facing each other, engaged in conversation in front of a wall of framed photos on a wall. Sorry. So you can kind of, it'll describe the things that are happening in the scene as well. And you can go and select like, okay, here's this part that we want to insert into the video. So that context can get added as well.
I don't know how useful this would be, but I can tell you folks in our industry would be blown away if your screenplay was in the format of a screen. Like if you could generate a screenplay from something and it was in the typical screenplay format, I don't know if that would, I don't know how much we would use it, but man, would you get a lot of attention.
So we actually started building it that way, and we realized that there's a pretty big group of people who are not familiar with the screenplay format. And they were like, I am so overwhelmed when I first saw this. And so we dumbed it down as much as we could, really.
It's really fun.
Alexander?
I'm always amazed at how fast this product evolves, because the last time I used Opus was about a little over 6 months ago. I don't even recognize the product now. It looks like a completely different product, so I'm going to have to spend some more time with it. My question to you, though, is if I wanted to get these clips out of the system and put it into my own editor, are you guys able to spit out like a DaVinci Resolve project, or not just DaVinci Resolve, but other editors where it'll just open up and it'll have all the clips there?
Amazing question. And the answer to your question is yes. So when you see the clip results, so this is like a result of the clip, you have the ability to export an XML, which will give you an entire project file that you can open in DaVinci Resolve or Premiere Pro. Those are the two supported platforms. We're working on Final Cut Pro as well. And essentially what you're getting is a set of layers and the entire project. So you'll get the background video, you'll get the animated captions layer, you'll get the SRT file with the transcript, you'll get all of the framing that's also editable, of course. But we want to make it really easy for professionals to not break their workflow. So if you don't want to learn how to use a new web editor, or if you're like, this web editor sucks and it's not powerful enough and doesn't do the things the way I want it to, all you have to do is like, this is how a lot of the professional folks are using search, is they will find the clip and take it right into Premiere. And then from Premiere, they will do all of their fonts and styling and things that they have already preset as well. So the answer to your question, yes, it's one button. It drops a zip file with all the assets that you need from that clip, and then you can run from there.
Bill?
This looks hugely powerful, and I can see lots of use cases. One of them in my corporate practice, though, is pretty sensitive to intellectual property issues and privacy. So can you tell me a little bit about, if I upload their library to the cloud, what are my exposures or what are my safeguards?
Totally. So we work with, so as a regular user, so if you're just coming onto the website as like an individual user, we guarantee that none of your content gets used to train any models. So anything you upload is never sent to our services, or they're sent to our services, but we don't actually retain it. Like you saw, it was linked to the original YouTube as like a timestamp or the original content, but none of that content is used to train any AI models. We use OpenAI, and we also use Gemini for some of the transcription stuff, but none of that gets used to train our model. So we have agreements with those partners to make sure that none of the content uploaded to OpusClip is used for any training, and it's not used to train those models as well. The second thing is that you retain ownership of all the content that you produce. So anything you upload, anything you export out of OpusClip is owned by you. So those are two things that we really work on. For our enterprise customers, so folks that are doing like search and things like that, we can also do dedicated storage. So storage that is dedicated in a cluster near you, or even can be stored offline for you, like in your own servers and things like that, to make sure that we meet all of your requirements. And then for when we work with larger organizations, we'll also do like any specific clauses or legal things that they like insurance or indemnity clauses and things like that. But the bottom line is that we don't own anything. You can think of this like a tool like you would Photoshop. So you own everything you put on it. You own everything you get out of it. And then we don't train any of our AI models on your content either.
And Alex.
You're talking about professional uses. Would we be able to throw a bunch of clips in, have it generate a bunch of metadata, and export it out? So we get all the metadata for all the clips. So I just put in, I got a short piece that I'm going to do. I put in 20 hours of content, which would be normal for us. And then it generates all the metadata that we just saw when you were showing this all the way down the side, and then have us be able to export that out for those clips, so that when we bring them into Final Cut or Resolve or whatever, all of those are metadata that we can be searching for.
So the metadata, things like the speakers, the topics, are not exportable.
Right.
What is exportable now is the transcript, the framing, and all of that. So you wouldn't be able to take it out of the platform. But that's really interesting.
We use it all the time.
Yeah. Do you already have a system of like searching that you want to like?
Oh yeah. Like Final Cut is probably the best at it, but others use it. But it's really common for us to go through, and it's really a very deep pain point to put enough metadata onto every clip for us when the editor's doing it. So you're doing something automatically, but a lot of times the editors are going to do this all manually. But they need to find that clip they need to find the clip with the dog, or they need to find the clip with the whatever. And there's sometimes hundreds of hours of content for them to go through, and they just want to search for. And when it's multiple metadata, I want to see the dog outside, in the sprinkler or whatever. And I now being able to do those complex searches can be done by the editors, but adding the metadata to it is a huge pain point that would be very, very valuable to, I think, a lot of pros.
Alex, I might follow up with you afterwards on this. I think that would be really interesting for us to learn, what that process is, and see if that's something that we can offer as a product offering.
Yeah, for documentary folks, and even people that are doing, stuff for YouTube that is, that's a 20-minute or 10-minute, they're grabbing lots and lots and lots and lots of data. And for them to be able to have the transcripts as well as, but also all the metadata of what's going, if you're visually analyzing it and then handing that data back, it's super valuable to someone building something with, because we're shooting oftentimes, again, 100 to 1, kind of stuff.
Right. Awesome. Yeah.
We can talk later.
Yeah. I think that's really, you've got my sort of gear spinning here.
The wheels turning.
Yeah, for sure.
So we'll go to Bill and then go to some of our producers' questions and then back to your demo. This is, I love this game that we're going fun. Here. Yeah,
having a lot of fun.
Go ahead, Bill.
I just was following up with Alex's thing, because the first thing I do as a Final Cut editor is I go through and I reject huge amounts and I tag all sorts of stuff that I'm never going to use. However, even after I go through my rejects, favorites, and then applying keywords to specific frame ranges so that I can search on them later, the next thing I do is realize that I can always undo that reject, because I'll occasionally go, in this particular point, that swish pan that I got rid of is exactly what I want. So let me pull back all the tagging and the work that I've done in terms of making things searchable for me. So just as a history, that's kind of how some of us think about marking up our video footage as we go forward.
Yeah, that's super interesting. So that's something that we've heard for search as well, where it's like, how do I know what's been used, or how do I mark something as good even for the rest of my team to take a look at? And so we're adding the ability for you to label and create folders and like put things in like ready for review, ready for publishing, and things like that. But I'm really curious around like the granularity of the tagging that you guys go after, right? So we're working towards, what you saw was a very generic search query. It was like Today Show or navigating relationships were the two examples I showed. But what that doesn't capture is the person's intent, right? Like, what am I trying to accomplish? And so we're trying to navigate or move from a search and search keywords to an actual prompt to say, okay, I'm looking to create a video of Tony Robbins and his personality and his can-do attitude, and be able to take something like that and turn that into a set of results that then can be used to using our sort of system to understand, okay, these are clips that can serve that purpose.
All right, let's get into the next question.
This one's from John Wallace in Pontiac, Michigan. I've noticed that Opus is struggling with tracking a person moving in a frame. Is this something your team is working on addressing?
Yeah, 100%. So let me share my screen one more time. We do struggle a little bit, and so there have been improvements to this in the last couple of weeks, and then we're launching our new reframing model, which can track like our golden sample here, or our golden example is TED Talks. As you have a person sort of moving across the stage, usually in a wide shot, and you want to keep that person in frame as you're reframing them. That's something that we're working on improving. I think in as early as 2 weeks, you'll start to see there'll be an announcement that says like, we've launched our new framing model called Reframe Anything, and it will be able to track folks as they're moving as well. We also are working on this for even sports, right? Like ball tracking, player tracking, to be able to take the shot of like an NBA game and be able to say, okay, let's take an NBA game where there's so much happening all over the screen and turn that into a social video. So turn that into like from 16:9 with all this context to 9:16 and track the ball, track the right players, and be able to differentiate between the two. So this is a really, really core part of what we're working on improving. And I would say stay tuned. I think there's some pretty big updates coming down the pipe.
Next question.
Douglas Carmichael asks, are you using an LLM on the back end? If so, which LLM do you use?
Yeah, so we work with OpenAI. We're a preferred partner of OpenAI. We use that for some of our transcription. And then we also use Gemini for some frame-by-frame understanding. So the way our process works is that we have our own model for Clip Anything that can understand everything that's sort of going on. And then we're processing the different layers and then bringing them together into a single understanding of what's happening. But we are using GPT-4o for some of the video understanding, and also OpenAI's transcription, the Whisper models as well.
Next question.
Florence Donald in Silver Spring, Maryland. What options is being set to help users learn to use the product, reduce the friction, or know the intrigues?
So
good one.
This is a great question. This is what we are weakest at. We move really quickly. I think Alexander called it out, right? Like the product is changing week to week, and we are really bad at keeping people in the loop of how the product is changing. This is one of the reasons that we're doing things like this, but also it is one of the biggest sort of shortcomings of the product is teaching people how to use it. So we're working on a video play. Like if you go to the OpusClip YouTube account, you'll see we're updating those videos pretty frequently. And then we also work with a series of brand partners. So creators, sometimes some smaller producers as well, that can help teach people in their specific industries how this product can be useful. But this is something that I will fully acknowledge, this is the weakest part of the product, is our user education.
Next question.
This one's from John Wallace in Pontiac, Michigan. It would be great to have an option to upscale your content before you export the 9:16. I've learned to upscale my content first before uploading, but I would pay to avoid that step.
This is a really interesting question. One of the things that we hear is I have really high quality video. So, 20 minutes of content, but it's 10 gigabytes because it's in 4K. And a lot of the times you lose your quality because we're cropping the pixels on the side to go from 16:9 to 9:16. But this is really interesting. We are working on video upscaling. So this is like very early in the works, but we want to give professionals the ability to export in 4K or as close to 4K as we can with the cropped pixels as well.
And it's so interesting how you are able to take all this feed, because you are all moving at such a rapid pace, and then how you prioritize what features you attend to. I don't know if you have the answer to that, but that I find that for any business, but specifically, this is a great, ecosystem for you to get that kind of feedback.
Yeah. So I'll keep it really simple, right? Like for us, when we're looking, we get a billion requests regularly, but we look at like the metric to prioritize is what does this unlock for people, right? Like what does this unlock? Does it what are the time savings? What are the cost or value savings? And then does it unlock an audience for us? That is a really big part of how we approach the prioritization. And so the requests that are coming in today are really valuable because we really care about unlocking the professional audience. We really care about unlocking, the producers, the ones that are really have massive amounts of content and really high, like cognitive load that they have to deal with. We started this business sort of working with smaller creators, podcasters, people that are working on one show or one thing, producing one piece of content a week, and are now realizing that this job is infinitely harder when you are a professional, when you're doing this 9 to 5, when it's not a passion project. And some parts of this are really, really boring. And like clipping and searching and finding those things are really boring. And so those are the things we kind of want to take away. But that's why this feedback and like everything that you're saying here is super valuable, even for us, just to figure out like, where do these things rank, right? Like being able to export in 4K has been on our roadmap for almost 6 months, which is a long time for us. But the idea is that like, if professionals won't use it, if you can't export in 4K, then that's a real blocker, and that's something that needs to be prioritized.
Alex?
And I don't know if 4K is as important as it may sound. I think that because a lot of us are using this for discovery, right? So you want to put it out there so people know that you're around, and 1080p is fine. But the problem we get into with the vertical is really just getting to 1920 vertically, because 1920 by 1080, we're half resolution when we go vertical. And so, I mean, it is 4K essentially, right? If we capture 4K and deliver you 4K, then we get a 1920 high image. We're not trying to get to 4K high. We're just trying to get to 1920, vertically, I think is the challenge there. One of the other things that I guess the question is, do you have any way to display as we build these out? One of the things that I do when I'm building things out for social platforms is a map of the debris. So the debris map for everything, and it changes constantly, is where is TikTok going to put all those buttons, and where is TikTok going to, where is YouTube going to put the buttons, and and everybody is different for everyone. And so what I have is these overlays that I use that I have to update relatively often of the debris button. I mean, the debris overlay, so that I know where to put captions, I know where to put people's faces. And so, like, for instance, knowing where those things are and being contextually aware is kind of useful too, because it knows not to put someone underneath, some of the debris as it frames, that kind of thing.
So, sorry, I'm going to share my screen one more time. So you have, when you are working with captions, you have the ability to put it as auto, or you can set it to the top. Let me just go to a part with captions, middle or bottom. But if you just drag this, you will see the safe zones. Or even if you just click on this, you'll see the highlight of the safe zones. And this is actually all encompassing. So this is covering TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube Shorts, and Facebook. I just want to make a quick point because I think this audience will care. LinkedIn is a very big opportunity. So we are talking to these platforms all the time to try to figure out what changes that they're making. We work really closely with LinkedIn because they have launched, I'm not sure if you've seen it, it might be on your phone already, but they're rolling out the video feed on the LinkedIn mobile app, which means there is an entire section on your LinkedIn app that is just dedicated to video. Sorry, I don't know if you can see this, but that's this. It is very small and has a very, very big opportunity. So when we spoke with LinkedIn, they told us there's only about 60,000 videos total on that feed, which means there's a very big first mover's advantage there.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. That's a great tip. That's probably the big tip for the week. Yes,
right. We're going to be busy.
All right. Well, let's get into a couple more questions, and then we'll get back to letting Shubh just wrap up his demo. Next question.
Juan C. Robles in Mexico City is asking, can you index videos without any audio and search for visual cues?
Yes, that's a great question. That is exactly what you can do with Clip Anything. And because in that search feature I showed, every video does get indexed with Clip Anything. That's sort of the base model that we use to figure out what's happening. You could drop in 100 videos that have no audio at all, or you can mute the audio And then you can look for a specific moment from that as well. If you just want to test that out, you can just take a video with no audio, put it into Clip Anything, and prompt for the exact moment that you're looking for as well. So find me the moment where the person pours a drink into the glass or something like that, and it will find that moment for you. Even if there's no audio describing that, there's no mention of drink at all, anything like that.
Next question.
From Brennan Goodyear in Columbus, Ohio, how complicated would it be to get Opus to run on a local LLM as a plugin in Premiere or Resolve?
It would be complicated. It would be very complicated. I know, I kind of understand what you're getting at. We are working with Adobe on two things. The first is Frame.io, which is the ability to import and export to Frame so you can connect your account. And, you know, if you have big files, you don't have to download them and upload them and all of that. The second, which we're considering, is actually building a plugin to do this. So you don't have to leave Adobe, or you don't have to leave Premiere to submit a video to be clipped and then get the results as well. But to answer the question, it would be very complicated and likely not possible right away.
If you did that clip, what you're talking about there, you could theoretically analyze a lower resolution clip, so not upload the full resolution. So, you know, we're putting in a raw, 6K file into something. It could theoretically send that to the cloud as a, much smaller H.264 with the audio, process it, and then send back potentially all that data.
Yeah, and we'll also, return the timestamps, right? So if you know, like, this is the actual moments that you want from that, you can pull that as well.
Proxy workflows.
Next question.
Asmat Gajar in Cape Town is asking, we create education videos in Xhosa, a local South African language. Would it be great to create shorts? How do you handle different languages, or is there a workaround?
We don't support Xhosa. I'm pretty sure we don't support Xhosa. There are 23 languages that are supported. Let me see if I can pull up the list. Almost all Latin languages are supported, as well as a few South Asian or East Asian, and a couple of African languages as well. We are working on Chinese, Japanese, and Korean as our next focus as well as Indian languages, which we get a ton of requests for as well. So Hindi and Tamil and Telugu as well are other languages that we're looking to support. But if you just Google OpusClip supported languages, it will give you the list of all 23 of those supported languages.
Alex?
Is there any consideration of clipping live?
Yes. Clipping live is interesting. That's actually how this product started. It was called Opus Studio. It was a live clipping product. It was technically pretty challenging, but also one of the things we learned was that the real value came from understanding the entire context of the video. Right. So it's hard to figure out the best clips if you don't know where the video ends. Right. And so that was one part of it. But those are requests that have never left. And so what we're starting to see now is, as we're working with larger organizations or more professional, like broadcasters and bigger companies, there is a real value in being able to get clips as soon as the live events are happening. So even if something like this, if you were putting out clips as this was happening, would that be valuable?
Well, I mean, and the thing is that for us, we already do this with Opus to some degree, which is what we do is we segment those things. So we're pulling that data down in real time. And then as we get to the end of a segment in the live show, we grab that section, throw it into Opus, end up with clips, post them. And before the show's ended, we've already posted 3 or 4 out of each segment. So there's a whole bunch of stuff so we're doing it already manually, but it feels like this could be easier. So
I guess my question is the objective from those shorts to get people to tune in live?
Not really. I mean, it's just to leverage the fact that there's a lot of PR around that time frame. So it's not really it does draw back to it, because when we put in links, when we put up a short or something like that, it's being linked back to that live event. But it's really not, the expectation is not that. It's just that there's a lot of interest around that right now. Like Apple just released an iMac, right? While we were talking in the show. And so there's a whole bunch of people that are going to talk about iMacs, and you want to be on the cusp of that wave and just churning those things out. And when you, like, especially in a format like this one that we have, you're talking, you're going to answer a question. Most likely Opus is going to grab your answer and close it up, tighten it up a little bit and grab a section out of it. It doesn't need to know the rest of the show. So if you're doing an interview show, a lot of times the meaty clips are going to be readily available within minutes after they were said, because it doesn't need the whole context, because that conversation is just, that answer is self-contained.
Yeah, that's fair. That's something that we are considering. It comes with a different set of technical challenges to be able to process a video as it's live and be able to clip it, but it's one that we hear a lot. It's a matter of grabbing like HLS and just saying it's grabbing the HLS and just not giving them a time to disappear, right? And just hanging on to them and looking at them. But I mean, like I can say that I watch a little bit of football. I mean, mostly watch the Steelers, but I watch other games, but I watch them in very quick aspects. But they clip things live. They're YouTube Live. Yeah. And so I can just say, I want to catch up with this game and watch the 37 clips that got me to this live thing. They're doing that by hand. I mean, and I think football would probably be pretty hard for Opus, but you could look at something that it's making decisions about a presentation or an event and putting up those live clips of, just show me the highlights of what's happened to get caught up on. It's a 2-hour event, and now I can close an hour and a half in 5 minutes and be caught up. Yeah, one of those limitations on our side is also the processing time. So the reason the NFL or like one of the sports leagues can move really fast is because they have a data stream as well. So I think it's the Hawkeye feed or one of those like intelligent feeds from all like 40 cameras on the field is also telling their clipping software, okay, this is the quarterback, it's the fourth down, like it's fourth and third, it's a trick play, whatever, right? Like all of that information is coming in, and so they can make decisions really quickly. Where on the OpusClip side, because it's not specific to a use case, we have to process everything from zero essentially. So if you were to put a live stream of an NFL game, or even actually put an NFL game in, it would take maybe 15 minutes to find the clips and do that. So that is one of those processing limitations. But that's one that we're always trying to speed up through like different engineering methodologies, different sort of tricks that we can use using some of the video content as well.
All right, Shubh, let's get back to a couple more minutes of your demo, and we'll see, producers, these questions, you got to vote on them.
Yeah, these are great. Let me share. I think I have shared pretty much everything, but I want to share one cool thing, which is, let me just go into the right account. So, which is our brand templates. So essentially, you can build a template to get everything ready. So this kit, you can have one for the LinkedIn video feed, YouTube Shorts, a LinkedIn post, YouTube long form, Facebook, Instagram, whatever. And so if I have a Shorts feed like this, I can select and customize the different layouts. And let me just zoom in so you can see. So the fill layout gives you the entire screen. The fit layout will put sort of the blurred bars on top, but make sure the video is completely in frame. You can split, so have different speakers. You can do that with 3 people, with 4 people. And then we also have screen share, which is if we're doing something like this where I'm speaking and I'm also sharing my screen, you can have my face in the bottom and the screen being shared up top as well, which is a fairly common one that we've seen. Caption presets. So we have a bunch of styles here that are pretty popular on social. Let me just zoom in here real quick so you can see. So you have the karaoke style, which goes word to word. You can, there's one that Mr. Beast likes to use. There's one that like Johnny O'Shea and a few other folks like to use, but all of this becomes customizable. You can select your colors. You can upload your own fonts. You can do all the layout things that you'd like here, and then you can have highlighter keywords as well. We've seen a lot of people do a static overlay. So in the top right corner or something, we'll have the logo of the video, of the show or something like that. And then you can also turn on auto transitions. So if there's a jumpy shot, we can fade in and fade out really automatically, but it makes it really easy. And the reason that I'm sharing this is that once you've built this, once you've established this based on your brand and your guide, you never really have to do this work again. So you just have to find the clip, apply the template, and then let it take care of everything that you need.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Oh, sorry. One last thing for folks on social, we have a social media scheduler, so you can pick a clip and connect your social media accounts to it. So YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, X, and then you can schedule that out. You can connect as many of these accounts as you'd like. And then that means that if you have 10 YouTube accounts, you can share to all 10. So let's say, let me actually switch to a different account so that you have something that you can actually see. And that way you can, I'm going to pick one. It'll generate just a basic description as well as a title, some hashtags. And I think, like, I'll be very honest, this should only be a starting point. Like, these are not great human captions, but you can regenerate them and make them more catchy or interesting. But a lot of people are lazy. A lot of people will use these out of the box and do just fine. NFL Films is one of the laziest customers that we have, and they will take videos from their archives, put them on OpusClip, find a clip, and just hit publish and not change the captions or anything like that. And they work really well. But yeah, you can connect your accounts here as well. But it's really cool.
All right, Alexander, next question.
This one's from Canton, Madison, Ohio. As a news podcast network, is the Clip Anything feature better for us to use, or do you recommend a good workflow for us?
Yeah, the Clip Anything model is a great model because it overall just does a better understanding of everything that's being shared. So even if you're doing just like a talking interview, Clip Basic, which is the original model, will do a pretty good job at understanding. But Clip Anything will let you prompt and find like specific moments that you might be interested in or a specific angle. I've seen that, when creators are putting up content, they usually have a perspective that they want to share, and they want that perspective to be consistent in the long form as well as the short form. And so sometimes that context gets lost, and you can use the prompt to say, like, find me the moments where we talk positively about XYZ, or find me the moments where Shubh looks really good, which is like no model can do that for you because it's nearly impossible. But just in general, you can share a perspective and make sure that perspective is also consistent across your short form content.
Next question.
This one's for me. I see you have post scheduling to social media. Having to use individual apps to post is time consuming, in addition to having to put a title graphic. Can a title graphic for the keyframe be added in Opus?
Yes, great question. Sorry, let me throw up my screen here one more time. In YouTube, you can upload a thumbnail here and just drag that in, whatever thumbnail that you have. The other videos we are working on, so like TikTok doesn't really let you, but if you just click this, it will let our team know that this is a feature request that you'd like. I want to share one tip. So for all of the platforms, they work really well when you post through this. TikTok has confirmed that if you use a third-party scheduler, it misses some of the metadata that is attached when you upload from your device. So when you upload a video from your phone to TikTok, it attaches your location, your phone number, your IP address, and when you use a third-party product, that actually gets missed. So what we've enabled is the ability to upload to your TikTok drafts, so that whatever your videos will end up on your drafts folder, and then from there you can publish it from your device so it feels like an organic upload as well.
That is a cheat code. Thank you so much for that, Shubh, because people will miss out on that. And again, everyone, for all of our producers, thank you so much. We've had Shubh Jagani here, head of enterprise product at OpusClip. Shubh, any parting words for our community? Like, thank you so much. This is one of those episodes you've got to watch again to get all the gems.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. If anybody has any questions, you can reach me, shub@opus.pro. That's my email. We're a very small team. We really care about talking to our customers, and that's how we build our product. So please reach out if you have any feedback. Check out the product. Everybody gets a trial as well, so you can play around with it. I think it's very affordable. And then if you've seen anything that was like particularly interesting to you, like the search feature, like any of the professional features that we talked about, please reach out. I'd love to have a conversation.
Thank you again, Shubh. Thank you, producers, for all of your fantastic questions, feedback, comments, to our panelists for all of your insights, and of course, our back-end team, for without which this would not be possible. The Taluk Traversal, we've gone 64,000 miles, 104,000 kilometers. That's 510 million bananas for scale. For the schedule and the rest of the week, head over to officehours.global, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
That was great.
Fantastic
that was excellent.
show.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Great demo.
That was so good.
Well, he's out of here.
Yeah, we've been trying to get. I'm so glad.
With
I think
Opus for so long.
Florence, I
Thank
think,
you.
solved this. But we've been trying to get Opus on for I think 2 years. So it was really really good.
Well done.
Yeah, hats off, Florence and our DIR team.
Yeah. No, very good.
Yeah.
Great show, Liberty. Great hosting.
Yeah.
Yeah, well done.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Lots of great questions.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Thanks.
Awesome.
Oh, Shubh, you're back.
Sorry.
You're back. Okay.
I don't know if I was supposed to leave or not.
It's like the end of the show.
We're so excited. We're like,
at some point they'll stop broadcasting. So
I
We
don't
were
want to
saying
just
this is great, and then he was gone. And we're like, oh, wait.
I don't want to just be like hanging out waiting for people to leave.
no, it's
are you from Canada, Shubh? I saw Waterloo on your.
Yeah,
we got
yeah.
Canucks. There's 3 Canucks on the show today.
Amazing.
Alexander's
yeah.
also. He's out in Vancouver. Yeah.
Oh, very cool.
awesome.
We actually just opened an office in Vancouver, like last week. I think in Burnaby. I have yet to visit, but I grew up in Toronto and went to school out there, and then moved out to California for work, and now I live in Denver because COVID happened.
Oh,
where in Denver?
In like just near Central Park.
Yeah, I used to work in Cherry Creek.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah,